What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today we're doing Cobra Kai, Season 6, Episode 7, Never Die. That's not the title of it. I just feel like Cobra Kai Never Die. Anyway, so I'm recapping this at my speed, you know? I don't like binge watching Cobra Kai because I love the show and it's in its final season. So I'm taking a couple days in between each episode. Sorry. So in episode 7, we cut back to the Sekatakai. I'm never going to get that right. Ever. I'm trying. And the tournament, and we see this one round where Miyagi Do is doing awful. The 9 dragons, the red fire dragons, the red dragons, the green dragons, I don't know. That the mysterious dojo that just sort of appeared in season 6 and is really good. They're killing it. And I love how chill Kreese is about the other dojo. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he seems to just only exist to throw shade at Miyagi Do from the Cobra Kai angle, but it's like, that other dojo is proving to be quite formidable. How are you not bothered? Like, I would love to, like, I'd love for the show to have just a slight bit of Kreese looking at the other dojo like, I wasn't expecting you. You know, like, what do I do now? And we see there's a, like, basically Miyagi Do just, like, loses across the board. They're all just performing really poorly. And Kreese kind of makes fun of them, and I don't know, they kind of get wounded and leave. And we do see Tori, and she's doing okay. And so is Quan, the other captain, they're doing fine. But angry lady, who I don't know her name, didn't appear in this to yell at Tori. Tori really didn't have that much to do in episode 7. She kind of just fights a little bit, and then she sits in the audience and stares. And Quan has even less to do. So as far as those characters, Kreese just kind of has, like, menacing shit to say to Daniel and Johnny, and that's really all he does. He just pops in and he's like, maybe he got lost. I don't know. Like he's a Bond villain or something. I don't know. But it kind of just focuses on a couple of things. The kids all have this sort of infighting. Devan feels out of place, and she talks to Johnny about, this is all sort of out of order. It's just tackling what each one of these people go through. She tells Johnny that she stole the spot, and she feels really guilty about it, and she thinks that maybe Miyagi Do would be better if she hadn't have competed. And Johnny just tells her, about, like, regret and everything like that, and you're here and we need you to, I don't know, buck up or whatever. So, and you are a good fighter, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. So, Chosen is here for like a hot minute, but he's still, like, wounded from, he doesn't really do anything. He's just doing the thing, kind of like, I made fun of the fact, I was like, this poor man, can we please give him something to do? He just comes in and he's like, I bought flour, like, and he's just crying. It's like, I mean, I'm glad he's still in the show because I thought they'd written him off, but he needs something to do. And especially considering the fact that Daniel steps away, I don't know why he didn't ask Chosen to go with him. I don't know why Chosen didn't go to like, he's just here for the sake of existing. Like, he's alive. Like, it's like a wellness check or something. Like, they do nothing with Chosen in these episodes. Who else is underdeveloped? We have Dimitri and Hawk, who we're now just calling Eli, which is so less interesting. Hawk. I just love Hawk so much. Um, I don't know. They're still, one of them's going to MIT, and it's like, dude, we get it. You're going to MIT. You're smart. Smell like MIT. Basically, that's their story. Um, they're also concerned, along with Miguel, about Robbie, who seems to be dropping the ball because of Tori. His head is elsewhere, and the other boys tell Miguel that they think Miguel should be the captain. And I agree. I mean, I said that in the last episode before watching this one. I was like, I think Miguel deserves to win this tournament. Honestly, the show started out as Miguel's, and it should end as Miguel's. Like, Cobra Kai was sort of revived through Miguel, not through Robbie. I mean, like, yes, Johnny is repairing his relationship with Robbie, but at the same time, you know, this was always Miguel's. And yes, Miguel has a future and other things, and Robbie, his whole thing is, well, I don't, you know? And that doesn't necessarily mean that Robbie isn't necessarily the strongest representation of Miyagi Do. I know that they like the blend of the fact that he did train with Miyagi Do for a while, and he's Johnny's kid. So, like, but I still kind of want Miguel to be on top in the end. I don't know how the show ends, but I when those two said it, I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. I wish it was Miguel. But if this show ended with Miguel and Tori winning, I would be really happy. I don't need Sam to win. Sorry, Sam. I also wonder if she's in the movie, the Karate Kid movie. I don't know how they're going to do that with just Ralph Macchio and not his family that they've introduced in Cobra Kai. So I would think she has to come along to the movie. But so that's kind of what the boys are up to. Samantha has probably the most interesting thing to do here, where she kind of stumbles into she and Devan see the main girl who's like she's insta famous or something for fighting in this tournament, and she talks about like girl power and stuff like that. And then she slights Sam and Devan by saying, oh, I only do shout outs and interviews with people who win. Bye. So of course, like, later on when Tori wins, you kind of wonder, it's like, well, are you gonna do that interview with Tori now? Huh? I'm expecting it in episode 8. I'm expecting to see you, since she won for help to win for Cobra Kai. Anyway, Sam sees the head of their dojo, who talks to Johnny like he's some sort of like guru. He's like, I just make sure that they're eating the right foods. Maybe in America, what you fight like what you eat, which is junk. Meanwhile, like, he's like later on in the room, he's like beating his captain, like physically beating his captain, like actual abuse. Like, I shouldn't be laughing, but I mean, like, literally, that's what's happening. Is he's just like, and that's the captain, and you're like, damn, if he's beating the captain, what is he doing to everyone else? So the male captain, I should say, not the girl, not the insta famous. So Sam sees that, but she doesn't say anything right away. She just kind of leaves. Meanwhile, Johnny and Daniel are fighting about their different styles and how they could have used, and and they're not listening to each other, which they should be. And then finally Daniel gets this message about something that's related to Mr. Miyagi's past, with that shit he found in the box. So he goes off into the dangerous part where he shouldn't go, where he's inevitably kidnapped and put in a cage, and then has to fight his way out of the cage. And he spends the whole episode basically going through the tournament with just Johnny running Miyagi Do. So Johnny puts them into an event and tells them to fight his way, strike first, strike hard, which doesn't work. They're on this platform and they all get like knocked off rather quickly. Some of them super fast. Like, Devan's only on it for like 10 seconds. And they lose that event. And Samantha really lays into him with, why, why are you even here? That was clearly, you guys are fighting this whole time and you should be listening to, that was clearly Miyagi Do. That was clearly balance. We needed that. And you told us to do the other. And, so Johnny kind of has a little bit of like self-reflection, and he comes in with a different sort of approach to the final event that will either make or break them into advancing in the next round. And it's a platform where they have two fighters up there, and they have to try to have their last two standing, or they have to remain on the platform. Basically, each dojo can have two fighters on the platform at the same time. And then when a dojo runs out of, once all 6 people have been knocked off, then the other dojo wins. So Miyagi Do fights some other dojo, which is always a good sign for them advancing when we don't even know what the dojo is. I wasn't even actually that worried. I was like, who are they fighting? So it wasn't like it was a showdown already between Miyagi Do and one of the other dojos. So they fought some random dojo, so of course they're going to win. But they did a pretty good job of doing it, except, Dimitri kicked Hawk off accidentally. Robbie he got defeated really early because he looked at Tori. But Devan just she sacrifices herself and just straight up tackles somebody off the platform, which I thought was actually kind of badass, but also, kind of evened it out, okay, so 1 for 1, I guess, but kind of badass. It would have worked if she could get 2 people. If Devan had been able to take 2 people, that would have been a super badass, instead of just cool. If she had managed to tackle 2 of them off the platform with herself. But it ends up with Miguel, who has to fight off the last 2, and he does, and he wins, and Robbie's a little hurt because Miguel ends up winning the right to advance for Miyagi Do. And finally Daniel comes back, and him and Johnny are, looks like maybe they'll have a conversation. Daniel finds out, of course, that he was being held by Kreese. The whole thing was bullshit, and he really looks like he's gonna break every tenet of Miyagi Do and just murder Kreese in the middle of the lobby. And then Samantha walks up, and they go off. And the game changer at the end of this episode is, instead of them being able to have this deep talk, Johnny just got off the phone, and his girlfriend, his baby mama, his fiance, his wife, whatever they are, something's wrong with the pregnancy. She's being rushed to the hospital. So Johnny is pulling Miguel, and they're flying back home. And then it ends. Dun, dun, dun. The strongest fighter with his one shot to win. And I'm like, what are they going to do? But also, I mean, Johnny's doing the right thing. She's Miguel's mom. And this is just a tournament. So if Johnny forced him to stay, but also it's so unrealistic, unless, because of how far he has to fly. What are they, in Spain? I hope if she's in some sort of situation, she's gonna need to, I don't think they're gonna kill her off, but even if they were, that's a long fucking flight, man. You're gonna have to pray for every minute. For somebody to be in a medical emergency for as long as they need to fly from where they are to California, likely with connecting flights, by the way. I don't think there's a direct flight from Spain to California. So, I mean, it's a cool drop at the end of the episode. My guess is that before they leave, they get a phone call saying everything's okay. And Johnny gets to hear, I haven't seen the next episode. I think it's bullshit. I think the whole thing I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're gonna wake up and it's just gonna be like, baby's here, you know, something like that. But oh damn, we were at the airport, we were ready to go. So he looks like he was doing the right thing, and then they're like, oh, I guess we can go back to the tournament now. I mean, it's like episode 7, you know. Although at the same time, they could go back, and Daniel would be left single coaching, and they could fly out. Like Johnny could make a call. I don't know if they can sub in, but they could sub in Chris, who Devan stole the spot from, right? It wasn't Chris, or what was the kid's name? Anyway, they could sub that kid in. So possibilities. If you've already seen these episodes and you're like, that's not what happens, that's not what happens. But those are the things that I'm thinking about as being possibilities for why they may want to go down this route. If they go down this route and they fly them all the way back to California and then they fly back to Spain in the unrealistic amount of time and Miguel just keeps competing, I'm going to laugh. I'm just going to just be like this. I love Cobra Kai, but you're being really stupid here. Because first of all, by the time Miguel would get back to the next he would be so tired. He would be so tired. He'd be like rushing out. He just competed. Johnny's like, we gotta go to the airport. They hop out of the airport. They fly. They get back. They're, I don't know, somewhere. New York. Let's just say New York, right? Oh, we gotta get to our connecting flight. They fly to California. They get there and they're like, oh shit, we gotta Uber. We gotta Uber out here. I mean, like the logistics of this whole thing. So then they go right to the hospital with their luggage and they're sitting there and they figure out what's happening, and if she's okay, then she's like, oh, here's your baby. And he's like, oh my God, I'm a dad. This is amazing. I gotta get Miguel back to the tournament. Let's go. And then they just like run back in the other direction, and they go back through that like cartoonishly asinine sequence to get Miguel back to the tournament. It's like, why even bother? Seriously, just why? But anyway, let's see what happens. You know, I mean, there's some characters who didn't go to the tournament who could literally just go to the hospital and we could see them for a while. Daniel's wife could go there and check in on her, and maybe we could develop some characters who didn't go to Sekai Taikai and check in on them, and Johnny doesn't have to go. He gets a phone call before he leaves. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I'm going to give Cobra Kai season 6, episode 7. I guess I'll go with an A-. It wasn't really... It's not necessarily my favorite episode of Cobra Kai. I did like the fact that Daniel's rabbit hole was just a giant nothing burger for him. You know, just a huge trap from Kreese. And some of the stuff was cool in the fighting. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll be back with episode 8. Until then, see you guys on the other side.